Hello everybody, how's everyone's night going? Oh, I just got a lot dark here. Hello, my name is Clifford Yan, and I'm a senior at Rutgers University. I'm here tonight to just share my testimony to you guys, and the testimony is basically just a personal account of what I feel like God has been doing in my life. This is my coming to Christ testimony, so this is majority of the story of why I chose a life of centered around Christ. So I was born in a Christian family, right? It's really bright. Sorry. I was born in a Christian family, and my family did a lot of Christian things, right? We went to church on Sunday, we prayed before meals, we prayed right before we went to sleep, and just Christian things. And the big Christian in my family, who I think really was Christian, besides my grandma, was also my grandpa. He was the big Christian family, the head of the family. He always pushed us to go to church on Sundays. He always pushed us to pray every day, pray about everything, pray about everything, do not worry about anything. And that was a majority of my life in like elementary school and before elementary school. He was my big role model because he always took care of me and my little brother, because my parents were very busy, they worked a lot, so we needed a babysitter constantly. And he always took up the job of babysitting, even though he was like, getting to be pretty old, like 75. And so I decided when I was in elementary school to call myself Christian, because if my grandpa is this great guy, right? He's like here, and he's this great, and he says that, Clifford, there's this guy that I love, and his name is God. He's like this great. And as a kid, I was like, okay, if my Superman basically thinks that there's this guy way above him, then why not praise them both? Why not love them both? So I decided to say that I love God because my grandpa loved God. But it was a very shallow faith. It was very faith without foundation. It was when anything comes to just shake it a little, it falls apart. And so it comes, I'm in 6th grade, and that's when my grandfather was diagnosed with lung cancer. And life in the house wasn't really the same. It was pretty difficult. My grandpa was always in and out of the hospital, and when he wasn't in and out of the hospital, he was in the hospital. It was very tough, but so I'm a coward, guys. I'm very scared of a lot of things, and I couldn't face my role model being like that. I didn't want to see someone who I held in such high esteem brought down to something like he couldn't get out of bed by himself, he couldn't walk by himself, he needed tubes in and out of his nose. And so I made every possible excuse that one of my parents said, Clifford, do you want to go visit your grandfather in the hospital? No. I'm in middle school, Mom. Like, it's a tough time. Like, I need to do homework. It's hard, middle school. And, so every possible excuse, and within a whole year, I visited him probably twice or 3 times. And one day, my parents, they sit me and my little brother down in our room, and they say, Clifford, Andrew, your grandfather passed away last night. I honestly don't remember what a lot of things my parents said to me and my little brother after that. I don't remember a lot of the words they used to console us, a lot of the questions my little brother asked. I only remember the feeling of guilt and the feeling of regret of not visiting him in the hospital. But time goes on, as it always does. The world doesn't end when you ask it to. Those feelings of, as time goes on, the feelings of regret became feelings of confusion. Like, God, how come you didn't do miracles for my grandfather? I heard these stories that you've healed the blind, you've healed the sick, you've raised the dead, you came back to life. how come you couldn't heal my grandfather of cancer? And was it because you didn't love him enough? Was that it? I prayed to you every night, and I even prayed to you on my knees, and I thought that was enough. God, how come you didn't save him? And as time goes on, now I realize that my God back then wasn't God. My faith wasn't faith in Christianity. My faith was in the God I called myself. Because when you believe in a God that basically tends to all your needs, you're not believing in God. Your God is yourself. And those feelings of confusion, those feelings slowly became feelings of resentment. God, how come you hated my grandfather so much? How come you hated your own grandfather so much that you wouldn't visit him in the hospital whenever your parents asked? How come you hated him so much that you gave him such an ungrateful grandson like me? And those feelings of resentment, they stuck along with me for a long, long time. But time keeps going on. And I'm a sophomore in high school now. And a friend re-invites me to come back out to this church barbecue. And I say, why not? It's free food, I'll go. And so I go to this barbecue, and I catch the eye of one of the adults. His name's Henry, he's balding. But he talks to me more and more, gets to know me. And the whole time I'm like, why is this guy talking to me? He's kind of old and creepy. But after a while of trying to get to know me, he basically tells me, Clifford, I think it would be really good if you go to this camp called Saranac. It's a gospel camp, and I think it would be really good for you. And through a lot of things that have happened, basically, I said no in the beginning, and then, I was forced to go in the end, but I said yes. So I ended up going to this camp called Saranac, and it was a great camp. It's a great gospel camp, a lot of fun things to do, but, and a lot of good things happened at camp. And if you want to know more about it, I can tell you more if you ask me after this. But one of the biggest parts of the camp was when, at the end, we had messages every night, like 30-ish minutes messages every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, we go back into the room to get the message, right? And the pastor who comes up to speak, and he just says, all right, so you've heard me say these messages, these Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now, these messages about God, who he is. Now, I just want to ask you one question. Do you want Jesus to be your friend? And if the answer to that question is yes, then stand up. And I remember, I'm sitting there, right? I'm sitting there as a sophomore in high school, and I'm just thinking, wait, what? That was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? You gave us all these messages, that was the build-up, and that's it? Stand up? Who the heck is gonna stand up? No one's gonna stand up. Dude, who's gonna make such a huge life change? Just because you said stand up. No human's gonna do that. But before I knew it, I was standing up. And I was like, wait, when did I get up? I can't sit back down, because then my friends around me are gonna be like, why is Corey sitting up and down? Is it pee? Should we let him out of the aisle? And then, so I'm just standing there, feeling mad awkward. And as the pastor starts praying over us, I start crying like a baby. And I don't know why I'm crying. I don't know what made me feel sad, but my chest felt like it was being torn out, I guess. And I'm just crying. And then he finishes praying for us, and he lets us go, and we go into our small groups to just talk about the day, talk about how our day was, feelings and whatnot. But and I'm still crying at this point. There's boogers and snot, and tears all over my shirt. And I'm sitting in the small group, tiki torches everywhere outside, and I'm still crying. And then this kid named Brandon Fong, he's sitting next to me, and he's like, hey Clifford, something looks like it hit you today. You want to share? And I don't remember what I said that night, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't coherent because there's snot everywhere. You don't know, you can't talk through snot. But the feelings I felt that night was it was the beginning of what I decided to call my walk with Christ. I remember starting to go to church more, starting listening more, going to youth group on Friday nights, and one day, the biggest part of this story is we decide to go visit my grandfather's gravestone, and we get out of the car and we're walking over past all these stones, and as we get closer and closer, I can't help but start crying, and my chest is a pain I've never felt before, a pain that feels like it's gonna tear me apart. And when we finally reach the stone, I start crying all over, heavier than I've ever cried before. And I start saying things, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry. Why going? I'm so sorry, Toichi. I'm so sorry. And then my grandmother comes over to me, she's my grandson, Clifford, why are you crying? And I said, I'm so sorry, Michael, that I've been such a terrible grandson, so ungrateful. And honestly, when my grandfather needed me most, I decided not to go to the hospital. I didn't want to see him. I couldn't see him that way. He must hate me now. And I remember standing there in my tears, and just crying to my grandmother. And she looks at me and she smiles, like she's laughing at me or something. And she says, Clifford, you silly. Your grandfather never hated you. Your grandfather loves you every day of his life. And not just your grandfather, but God also loves you. And honestly, that didn't make me feel any better. It didn't make me feel any better because I abandoned him. I scorned him. I said, I didn't want to see you anymore. And yet he still loves me? That makes no sense. How could someone have such unconditional love for somebody like that? As a junior high school, I could not understand it. And basically, to understand God's unconditional love for us, that he sent down his own son to die for us, like for our sin. He sent him to be nailed on the cross. And I only realize this now, but I was singing the song, when we were singing the song, You Love Me Anyways, and my part of this, one of the solos says, I am the nails in your wrist, but you love me anyways. And what a powerful lyric that is, that we were the reason why he was up there, put on the cross, yet he still loves us anyway. And so yes, that's, it's not an immediate change. After that, hearing that, it still hurt. I still was in a lot of pain, but I slowly grew out of it and had more of a substantial faith, I guess. And I decided to get baptized that junior year, and that's the end of the story. But honestly, it's just the end of that story. That story is just the prologue to my Christian walk. And so thank you for everyone for listening.